You had 20 minutes.
I saw the look in your eye that you wanted to head home. I apologize.
Well,
Mr. Speaker, my. We get the sense that there's an election coming, and perhaps not just the one on Wednesday. I don't usually speak in the motion to adjourn, but as the last 6 or 7 people have all been party political broadcasts, I thought I might stand up and do my bit for this side of the room. I'll draw a specific exception there. I almost wanted to get up after MP Kane spoke earlier in the debate because I think what he had to say about tourism, and indeed what he then had to say about service in the motion to adjourn speech that he made to this honorable House, both of them were profound observations, and they resonated greatly with me. And as today is a day of apologies for me, let me apologize to MP Keynes because I don't wish to say nice things about him and then put him in any trouble with the other side of the House. But what he had to say was absolutely spot on. There are not a lot of people who step forward to do this role. And most of the time when you bump into people in the street, you, me, whoever it may be, Mr. Speaker, any of the 36, the expression is better you than me, or I'm glad you're doing it, but I wouldn't. And that is a shame. And I think when MP Kane spoke to the situation where people who are in our predominant industry, the international business industry, which is the one that's keeping this island afloat at the moment, when they're being told by the companies for whom they work that they cannot involve themselves in politics, that they cannot stand, notwithstanding they're Bermudian, that they cannot come forward and stand for Parliament, I think something's gone wrong somewhere. And let me make this, and I say this in the nicest possible way, and I don't criticize, but I had to step off a charity recently because I'm an MP, and I just don't understand. That to me just seems absolutely wrong. That charities would not want members of Parliament on their board. It just seems like we've taken the whole thing a little bit too far. But back to the party political broadcast, and I very much hope that it doesn't become the practice of this House every time we have a by-election for everyone in the room to feel the need to stand up and endorse the particular candidate that is running on their party ticket. And I cast my mind back to see on the last by-election whether there were any speeches given about the PLP candidate Mishka Fubler on that occasion. I don't believe there were, which begs the question why we've heard a series of speeches on behalf of the current PLP candidate. But Mr. Speaker, I'm going to demonstrate how we are different on this side of the aisle from those who spoke on behalf of the PLP candidate before me. And I'm certainly not going to say anything negative about the PLP candidate, though some chose to say something negative about our candidate, took swipes at him. And I think that's really unfortunate because as MP Keynes rightly observed, it is the will of the electorate who will decide, and we must appreciate the will of the electorate. It is not for us to
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Say,
point of order.
Mr. Speaker, we are a party. Our middle name is Labor. The OBA candidate attacked Bermudian civil servants. We must defend them. Thank you.
I'm afraid that MP Famous, not for the first time, is mischaracterizing events. Anyway, I'm not going to go low. I'm going to go high. And I'm going to go high by just touching on a few points. Some of them have to do with the OBA candidate, Robert King, who obviously we endorse and I endorse personally. But some of them have to go more broadly and touch upon some of the matters that MP Keynes rightly raised in his speech. The honorable MP for constituency 14 talked about the importance of those of us in this House understanding the problems that we are facing with our gang issues and understanding our youth. I entirely agree with those sentiments, and I endorse him and support him in mentioning that. That is absolutely true. And it is fortunate, therefore, perhaps fortunate indeed, that Robert King not only trained as a criminologist, but worked with our disaffected youths for some 25 years in the system, trying to get people who had fallen by the wayside back on track, trying to lift up, trying to help, trying to guide, trying to do better by his fellow Bermudians. And I noted that MP Kim Swan, when he spoke in favor of the PLP candidate, observed how she works in the community. No doubt she does. But so too does he. And it would be wrong to imply that he did not. He talked about passion and he talked about commitment. Both of those words, passion and commitment, are words that I would attribute to Robert King. Of course, what I have to say isn't what's relevant. It's what the voters of constituency 10 have to say about it. But I think that that is a man who has demonstrated through long years of service. And to echo again the speech that was given a few speeches before me, this job is about putting service before self. And that is not always easy because we are humans and we are frail and we have our strengths, our weaknesses, and our egos. But it is about putting service before self. And whenever we in this house, this honorable house, remind ourselves of that, we do ourselves and ourselves a favor. And we should, as MP Kane said, work to support each other in that regard. And also to call each other out in that regard, which is why I would point out that if those who speak after me wish to comment upon the by-election, perhaps they can do so in a way that supports the person that they're rooting for without belittling the person on the other side. Turning back to Mr. King, he is without doubt an honorable man. And I note that he quit his job, taking a great risk, in order to seek to merit election to this honorable house. And not everyone would take that risk for something they so deeply believe in. And as one of the speakers earlier, who I already commended, said, it is very difficult to get Bermudians to step forward to try to do this job. And so when they do, no matter what color their t-shirt may be, I think we should support them and commend them. And I do. And I would say the same, for what it's worth, about the third party candidate. I know someone earlier took a swipe at him as well. I think if you are 87 years old, and I don't mean the honorable member from constituency 14, in case that was misunderstood. I certainly don't mean that. But if you are 88 years old, soon to be 89 in July, I understand it, and you step forward because you believe you have more to give back to Bermuda, well, good on you. So let us not try and tear each other down, but let's big each other up. And then realistically, let's let the voters of C10 decide who it is they wish to have represent them in this honorable house. Again, it's about service before self. It's about trying to identify the solutions that Bermuda so desperately needs. It's about accountability. And yes, it's about hard work. It's about our future. It's about delivering solutions. In my view, Robert King is a genuinely nice guy. But more importantly, he's a nice guy who will serve the people and serve them well. And I don't actually need to say any more about him, because what he has done already in his life, whether he wins or loses on Wednesday, speaks volumes about the man he is. So I wish him well, but obviously it's not my wish that matters. It's the voters of C10, and I wish them well in the person that they choose on Wednesday. And lest this now sound like a party political broadcast that I just criticized, let me turn, more importantly, to wish anyone who is still listening on this Friday afternoon a very happy and a blessed May 2-4, because it is the best of times where Bermudians come together and see the best in all of us and each other. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.